Welcome back to our channel, your ultimate source for all the thrilling drama and shocking twists from Genoa City. Today is a beautiful day to dive deep into the shadows of our favorite characters' lives. Let's unpack the chilling new mystery that is about to unfold, and see what secrets are hiding in the dark. Genoa City is a town built on secrets, where every triumph is inevitably followed by a devastating reckoning. For Chelsea, the recent days have been a whirlwind of adrenaline, vindication, and public spectacle. Driven by an unwavering need to protect her family, she meticulously gathered the damning evidence against Hayley Hamilton, culminating in a dramatic public exposure that left the entire city reeling. Chelsea stood tall, a beacon of fierce protective energy, as she played the audio recording that shattered Hayley's sociopathic facade and led to her immediate arrest. However, in the treacherous landscape of Genoa City, the brightest victories often cast the darkest, most terrifying shadows. Just as Chelsea begins to exhale, believing she has finally secured a modicum of safety for her loved ones, a sinister new mystery emerges from the depths of her own traumatic past, threatening to unravel her completely. The date of August 21st carries a suffocating, paralyzing weight for Chelsea. It is not merely a day on the calendar, it is a psychological scar that burns with fresh agony every time the anniversary approaches. Exactly 1 year ago, Chelsea was plunged into an unimaginable nightmare when she was abducted and held captive by the ruthless and enigmatic Allison. The trauma of that kidnapping, the cold isolation, the psychological torture, and the absolute loss of control have left deep, invisible wounds on Chelsea's soul. She has fought valiantly to reclaim her life, to project strength and resilience, but the human mind is a fragile construct. As the 1 year mark of her harrowing ordeal arrives, the atmospheric tension in Chelsea's world thickens. The air feels heavier, the shadows in her home stretch longer, and a creeping, insidious paranoia begins to take root in the darkest corners of her mind. It begins with the most mundane of disruptions, the sharp, piercing ring of a telephone. In the quiet solitude of her home, the sound cuts through the air like a jagged blade. Chelsea glances at the caller ID, her heart skipping a beat as the screen displays an unknown number. Rationality attempts to soothe her, suggesting it could be anyone, a wrong number, a persistent telemarketer, or a business inquiry. But the primal, instinctual fear that resides in the heart of every trauma survivor screams a different narrative. With a trembling hand and a breath caught tight in her throat, Chelsea answers the call. She offers a tentative, hesitant greeting, her voice betraying the sudden spike of anxiety coursing through her veins. What greets her on the other end of the line, however, is not a voice, but a chilling, absolute silence that seems to consume the very oxygen in the room. The silence is not empty, it is pregnant with a malicious, terrifying intent. As Chelsea presses the receiver closer to her ear, the silence gives way to a slow, deliberate, and heavy breathing. Each exhalation from the unknown caller is a rhythmic, sadistic taunt, a visceral reminder that she is being watched, monitored, and hunted. The psychological impact is immediate and catastrophic. In a fraction of a second, Chelsea is violently pulled backward through time, transported to the cold, dark room of her captivity. The phantom scent of damp concrete, the paralyzing helplessness, the terrifying presence of Allison, it all rushes back with suffocating clarity. The heavy breathing on the phone is a weaponized trigger, expertly designed to shatter the fragile peace she has fought so hard to rebuild. Chelsea is frozen, unable to speak, unable to hang up, trapped in a paralyzing web of fear. Just as the panic threatens to completely engulf her, Catherine "Cat" Richardson intervenes. Cat, a woman who understands the treacherous undercurrents of Genoa City's elite and the devastating toll of psychological warfare, has been a steadfast pillar of support for Chelsea during this emotionally volatile anniversary. Recognizing the sheer terror draining the color from Chelsea's face, Cat moves with swift, decisive action. She gently but firmly pries the phone from Chelsea's trembling fingers, her protective instincts immediately taking over. Cat places the receiver to her own ear, her expression hardening into a mask of fierce determination as she demands the caller identify themselves. She braces herself for a threat, a demand, or a taunt, ready to shield her friend from whatever darkness is reaching out to them. But the caller offers no explanation, no grand villainous monologue. Instead, the heavy, rhythmic breathing continues for a few agonizing seconds longer, a silent assertion of dominance and control, before the line goes abruptly dead with a sharp, final click. The dial tone echoes in the room, a hollow sound that offers no comfort. Kat slowly lowers the phone, exchanging a look of profound, shared horror with Chelsea. Kat attempts to rationalize the event, suggesting it could be a cruel prank, a sick coincidence, or merely a wrong number. She wraps her arms around Chelsea, offering words of comfort and grounding reality. But despite Kat's strong exterior and soothing reassurances, the seed of terror has been successfully planted. The silence of the house no longer feels peaceful. It feels like a hunting ground, and both women are acutely aware that the nightmare has only just begun. Over the next 5 days, the psychological torture escalates with terrifying precision. The unknown caller does not stop. The phone rings at all hours of the day and night, a relentless, unpredictable assault on Chelsea's sanity. Each time, the pattern is identically cruel. Silence, followed by that slow, deliberate, heavy breathing, and then a sudden hang-up. Chelsea is reduced to walking on eggshells in her own life. Sleep becomes an impossible luxury, replaced by a hyper-vigilant state of insomnia where every creak of the floorboards sounds like approaching footsteps. The psychological warfare is draining her, systematically dismantling the fierce, vindicated woman who just took down Hayley Hamilton and replacing her with a terrified victim once again. The ghost of Allison looms large over every moment, a spectral presence that haunts Chelsea's waking hours and turns her dreams into terrifying flashbacks. The central, agonizing question burning in Chelsea's mind is the identity of her tormentor. Is it possible that Allison has returned? The ruthless kidnapper has been a phantom, rumored to be in hiding and intentionally staying off the grid, avoiding the escalating fallout of Genoa City's myriad conspiracies. Allison's sudden disappearance only amplified her mystique, making her a boogeyman in Chelsea's mind. The timing of these calls, coinciding perfectly with the 1-year anniversary of the abduction, points a glaring, terrifying finger at Allison. It is a signature move of a sadistic predator, returning to the scene of the crime to reassert dominance over their prey. The thought that Allison has resurfaced, that she is lurking in the shadows of Genoa City, watching Chelsea's every move, is a paralyzing realization that threatens to break Chelsea entirely. Yet, in a town as treacherous as Genoa City, the list of potential enemies is never short. If it is not Allison, who else possesses the cruelty and the knowledge to weaponize Chelsea's deepest trauma against her? Could it be tied to the recent, explosive takedown of Hayley Hamilton? Hayley may be behind bars, but she is a woman driven by deep-seated greed and dissatisfaction, capable of commanding loyalties from other dark figures. Perhaps an associate or a hidden ally of Hayley is seeking revenge, using the anniversary of Chelsea's kidnapping as a convenient, devastating tool to destroy her psyche. Or could it be a completely new adversary, someone observing the shifting power dynamics and choosing this moment of vulnerability to strike? The uncertainty is maddening, forcing Chelsea to view every friend, every stranger, and every shadow with intense, crippling suspicion. As Chelsea and Kat navigate this suffocating atmosphere of dread, the broader chaos of Genoa City continues to churn, threatening to intersect with their nightmare. Enter Smitty, the ambitious, relentless investigator and journalist known for chasing high-profile, dangerous scoops. Smitty is currently deeply entrenched in an investigation into the illicit red market plasma ring, a massive criminal enterprise with far-reaching implications. However, Smitty is completely unaware that he is being masterfully manipulated by the erratic and unhinged Heather Armstrong. Operating under the guise of an anonymous source, Heather has been feeding Smitty a diet of meticulously forged documents and false leads, deliberately poisoning his investigation to protect her own lethal blackmail schemes. Smitty's compromised position makes him a dangerous wildcard, a man operating on false intelligence while believing he is uncovering the absolute truth. As the agonizing week draws to a close, the paths of Chelsea, Kat, and Smitty inevitably and fatefully collide. Seeking a momentary reprieve from the claustrophobic terror of the silent phone calls, Chelsea and Kat venture out, only to cross paths with the driven investigator. Smitty, buzzing with the adrenaline of his compromised investigation and the supposed truths he has been uncovering, approaches the two women. He is a man who deals in secrets, in the dark underbelly of the city, and his demeanor is urgent and fraught with tension. Kat, ever the protective shield, attempts to politely dismiss him, wanting to spare Chelsea any further distress. But Smitty is not easily deterred. He carries the weight of a man who believes he has uncovered a conspiracy that touches the very core of Genoa City's elite, and, unfortunately for Chelsea, his web of information is about to entangle her in a terrifying new reality. Smitty leans in, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial, ominous whisper as he shares a piece of information he has recently uncovered. What he says is not a comfort. It is a devastating, apocalyptic revelation that shatters the fragile remnants of safety Chelsea and Kat were desperately clinging to. Perhaps Smitty's investigation into the Red Market has unearthed a connection to Allison's original kidnapping plot. Perhaps Heather's forged documents included a terrifying, fabricated detail about a hit out on Chelsea. Or perhaps Smitty has received a credible, terrifying tip that Allison is not hiding off the grid at all, but has been actively operating in the shadows of Genoa City for weeks, orchestrating a grand, lethal return. Whatever the specific words are, they hit Chelsea and Kat with the force of a physical blow. The blood drains from Kat's face, her strong, protective facade finally cracking under the weight of Smitty's terrifying warning. The psychological aftermath of Smitty's revelation is absolute and immediate. The silent phone calls were a terrifying psychological game, but Smitty's words have violently transformed that fear into a tangible, imminent, and lethal threat. Chelsea's panic, previously contained within the walls of her home, now spills over, infecting Kat with a profound, paralyzing dread. The realization that the danger is not just a ghost from the past, but a present, active predator hunting them in real time, is suffocating. Kat, who had been the anchor of rationality, now finds herself looking over her shoulder, jumping at shadows, her own paranoia mirroring Chelsea's descent into terror. The two women are left standing together, isolated in a crowded city, realizing that the nightmare they feared was only the prologue to a much darker, much more dangerous reality. The walls of Genoa City feel as though they are closing in, transforming the town into a massive, inescapable trap. As the episode draws to a breathtaking, heart-stopping close, the audience is left on the absolute edge of their seats, grappling with a multitude of terrifying questions. Is Allison truly back, orchestrating a sadistic, slow-burn revenge plot against Chelsea to finish what she started a year ago? Or is Smitty's terrifying warning a byproduct of Heather Armstrong's chaotic manipulation, a false lead that is inadvertently driving Chelsea to the brink of madness? Who is the silent caller breathing heavily into the phone, and what is their ultimate, lethal endgame? As Chelsea and Kat retreat to the supposed safety of their home, the silence is once again violently shattered by the sharp, piercing ring of the telephone. The screen flashes with that ominous unknown number, leaving viewers breathless, wondering if Chelsea will answer the call, and if she does, what fresh horror awaits her on the other end of the line.